Seated posture. As you practice tonight, make sure you are practicing poses that are comfortable for you. So if I'm doing something that isn't in your practice, please adjust accordingly. So I will be honoring my body this evening, and I will not be doing any kind of knees down, chest down, or chaturanga, but feel free, if that is in your practice, to go right ahead and do that. So get your music going and have a seat on your mat. As you find your seated position, just begin to lengthen through the spine, through the back of the neck and head, allowing the legs to release and the jaw to soften, letting the shoulder blades just melt down the back. And maybe the eyes are closed or you're just gazing down at the mat, but avoid tucking the chin into the chest. And tune into your breath, finding deep inhalations and exhalations. With each breath, maybe expanding through the lungs a little bit more and working on exhaling all of that breath out. This can be Ujjayi breath, or maybe it's an inhale through the nose and an exhale through the mouth. Now, as you begin to settle into your breath, notice any thoughts that you are attaching to. And create a book with your thoughts. Just notice the chapter headings. As you notice each thought, it's just the chapter heading, but you're not going to go in and continue reading and fleshing out that chapter. They're just thoughts, they're just chapters, they're just headings. Turning the pages, maybe you flip back, coming back to a thought you just had, that's okay. And just notice what thoughts come up without consciously making an effort for thought. If the breath has softened, come back into your deep breath. Taking just a few more moments here. On your next inhalation, take a deep, full breath. Inhale, 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 pause, staying relaxed as you hold the breath. And exhale all of the air out, nice and slow. Deep inhale and exhale. And on this next inhalation, arms float up. Inhale, fold forward. As you exhale, pause here, finding length through the spine. Avoid tucking the chin down and rounding through the back. Lengthen forward through the crown of the head. Root down through the sit bones, engage the core, extend arms out, floating up. Inhale. Clear the sky. Exhale, rest hands back, behind, wide, squeeze shoulder blades and lift up through heart center. Bringing the breath up past the collarbones, deep, full breath. Softening the jaw. 2 more breaths. As you exhale, come to neutral, and as you inhale, arms float up. Side bend to the left side, softening left arm, reaching and extending, lengthening through the right side. Keep that right shoulder rolled back. Find your breath. Make sure the head is not released. Keep the neck engaged bringing the ear and the arm in alignment. One more breath. As you inhale this next time, arms rise and opposite side. Stay gently rooted into the left sit bone. That right shoulder is down the back. Just lengthen and stretch through the left side. Both arms float up, inhale. Twist over to the left side, staying upright, the arms float down, pausing here in upright twist. Send your shoulder blades down the back, twist at the low ribs, and find a deep breath. As you inhale, arms rise, turning to the opposite side, exhale. Find length through the spine and avoid the lean back. Sit up nice and tall, squarely on your sit bones, and find your breath here. As you inhale, arms rise. As you exhale, forward fold. Pausing here. Maybe spider walk the hands out to find a new compassionate edge. Staying rooted down through the sit bones, you find length through the spine, through the back of the neck, and through the crown of the head. Begin to rise, just walking your hands toward the legs, finding your upright position. Here, take note of your lead leg and extend your legs straight down the mat. So the heels are extensions of your ankles and the ankles are flexed and you're rooted into the sit bones, length through the spine, and just spider walk the hands down, maybe holding onto the shins, the ankles, or the feet. Bend knees as needed to help keep more of a neutral or arched back. You want to avoid the rounded spine. Want to focus the stretch in the backs of the legs. Find your breath. Walk the hands back behind, unhinge. Leaning back, shoulders and wrists line up, and bring the soles of the feet to the mat so that as you lift into reverse tabletop, the ankles and the knees line up. Toes point straight ahead and you press the back body away from the mat. If and only if it is comfortable on your neck, do you allow the head to gently float back. You can always keep the head neutral or the chin slightly tucked. As you exhale, lower to the sit bones, extend the legs, arms float up this time. Hinge forward as you arch the back, hands touch down to find your compassionate fold. Reconnect with your breath, with your body. Notice if you're rounding the spine and tucking through the tailbone. And if you are, just bend the knees, freeing up the hips a little bit so that you can extend your heart forward, crown of the head forward or at the diagonal. And as you inhale, arms float up, inhale, unhinge. Clear the sky, soles of the feet to the mat, reverse tabletop. Squeeze through your shoulder blades, lift through the back body. Don't want the hips sagging toward the ground. You want to lift, lift, press down into the feet and into the palms. As you exhale, lowering to the sit bones, zip up the core, lift into your version of boat pose. So maybe feet are dangling, maybe you have tabletop shins, maybe you're extending all the way up. You decide. Zip up the core, lift up the heart, find your drishti and just breathe. Twist over to the left side. Breathe, extend through the heart as if the heart is moving forward. And switch sides. Come back to center. Deep inhale. As you exhale, release and recross with your opposite leg as the lead leg. Finding Sukhasana or whatever position that is comfortable for you, and tune back into your breath. Soften the jaw, find length through the spine, letting the shoulder blades melt down the mat, melt down the back, and breathe. On this inhalation, arms float up, bringing the palms to Anjali Mudra, prayer pose at heart center. And if you would like, take a moment to set an intention for your practice or bring back something you're already working on, but just keep it positive and present tense. And as your thought comes to you, breathe it in with each inhalation. Now as you exhale, lower the hands to rest on the knees and just roll your shoulders up, back, and down. Move with breath. This can be very slow or it can be faster, whatever feels good to you. One more breath. And pause. As you inhale, arms float up. Fold forward as you exhale to find your compassionate edge. Length again through the spine as you gently root down through the sit bones. Engage through the core. As you inhale, extend the arms out and up, unhinge. Clear the sky. Hands rest back behind and wide behind. Squeeze shoulders, lift up through heart center, and bring the breath up past the collarbones. One more deep, expansive breath. As you exhale, come out of the posture, and as you inhale, arms float up. Side bend over to the right side so the left side of the body stays long. Gently root into the left sit bone, lengthening and lifting through the side body here at the side ribs. It might feel good to look down, get a little bit of a stretch through the neck. As you inhale, arms rise, bring head to neutral. As you exhale, switch sides. Again, you have an opportunity, might feel better to look up, or maybe you'd like to go back into that downward position, get the stretch through the neck. As you inhale, both arms rise. Turn to the right, staying in your upright twist, hands float down. On this inhale, arms rise, and switch sides as you exhale. Soften the jaw again. Let the shoulders melt down the back. One more deep breath. On this next inhale, arms float up. Forward fold as you exhale. Maybe spider walk those hands out. Find a new compassionate edge. And walk the hands in. Coming upright and extend the legs down the mat. Flex through the ankles, sitting up tall on the sit bones. And spider walk the hands down to find your compassionate forward fold, seated forward fold. Focusing on stretching through the hamstrings and calf muscles, lengthening the backs of the legs. Unhinge, walking your hand backs to find reverse tabletop. Walking your hands back to find reverse tabletop. Squeeze shoulder blades, lift heart to ceiling, lift hips to ceiling. Maybe the head releases. As you exhale, come back to the sit bones. Extend the legs. This time, arms float up. Inhale. Fold forward, arch the back. Exhale. Find your compassionate fold. Extend arms forward, inhale, unhinge, clear the sky, feet to the mat, reverse tabletop. Lowering to the sit bones. Find both pose your version. Maybe it's the same as last time, maybe it's different. Zip up the core, lift up the heart. Adding on here, row the boat. Extend and come back in. I'm going to scoot forward a little bit. Extend and in. Next time you rise, pause in boat pose. Reach over to the right side, twist and hold. Adding on here, extend, come in, keeping the arms over to the right side. And switch sides, pause, hold. And here we go, extend and in. Zip up the core a little bit more. Last one, here we go, and center. Lower the feet down and come around onto all fours. Take a moment for cat and cow. And here in cat and cow, it can be very traditional, or it can be interpretive, moving to the sides, maybe taking hips to the heels, creating circles or patterns, figure eights, any kind of movement that feels good to warm up your body just a bit more. And we'll all meet in cat pose. Tuck tailbone, round through the spine, tuck the chin into the chest, and press the front body away from the mat. Take the hips toward the heels. Staying in cat, come forward. Staying in cat, hips to the heels, come forward, and last time, hips to the heels, and forward. Coming to neutral position, open up the collarbones, lengthen your spine, pause. Tilt the tailbone, lower the belly, open up collarbones a bit more, pausing in cow pose. Hips to the heels, keep the back arched, come forward. Hips to the heels, and forward. Hips, heels, forward. Last time, find neutral. Lengthen the spine. And walk your hands in, rising to standing on the shins. This is a good time for perhaps a block or maybe scoot toward the wall. If that is something you want to do, take a moment to do that. You'll extend your right leg out to the side, point the toes forward so your ankle is at kind of a 90-degree bend. Find length. Hands will start by moving forward, come down into tabletop. I'm going to turn to the side so you can see. Just like we were doing with cat and cow, first you can curl your back foot if you'd like. Yeah, the back foot, not the side foot. You'll take hips to heels and come forward just past the fingertips, hips to heel, come forward. Good. I'm thinking good. I keep saying good, like I can see you guys, but I know you're doing a good job. Last one. If you'd like, uncurl the back foot, walk the hands in, rise, using your block as needed to help with balance. Arms float up, inhale, side bend towards straight leg, keeping the core drawn in, keep the ribs pulled in, and a heavy tailbone. So you don't want that lifted tailbone and you don't want a tucked tailbone. Find neutral. The tailbone is moving straight down. Both arms float up, inhale, clear the sky, assist if needed, bringing that leg in. Moving to the other side, use block as needed for balance, and extend the left leg out, directly out from your hip, coming into tabletop position. Curl that back foot if you'd like, hips to heel, and come forward. And just do this a few times here with breath. Maybe you'd like to slow it down a little bit, speed it up. And two more times, forward and back. Last time, forward and back. Find neutral. Walking the hands in, use block as needed. Arms float up, uncurl your back foot, press into the right shin. Arms float up and over to straight leg. Make sure you're not pressing onto your knee. I should have said that last time, but don't press onto the knee. Maybe the hand hangs, maybe it rests on the quad or down on the shin. Find length through that side body. Avoid having the hips stick out. Lengthen up through the hip, through the thigh. Both arms float up. Inhale. And clear the sky. Bring the knees in. Exhale. Good. Shimmy out the legs. And we'll meet in downward facing dog. As you find your down dog, things to remember: wide fingers, kind of a suction cup. You want to keep the center of the palm soft, and you want to press into the perimeter of the hands, specifically the inside, the thumbs and the pointer fingers. Take a moment to stretch into the calves, maybe pressing through both heels, or maybe bend one knee. And if you're stretching one leg at a time, switch. Keep lifting up through the sit bones and tailbone. And both heels press down. Walk the hands in toward the body. I'm going to turn again so you can see. And walk your feet out wide. Toes point straight ahead. Bring your wrists underneath your shoulders for flat back, wide legs, flat back. You can be on blocks, you can be on knuckles, you can be on finger pads, or on the palms. Bend the elbows lower down. And lift. Bend the elbows lower down. Lift, so flat back. Last time, bend the elbows. Hanging in your wide leg, forward fold. And come into flat back. Slide your right hand directly over so it's underneath, somewhere between chin and chest. Left hand lifts straight up above the right hand. So make sure the hand's not going over the head or way back behind you. The shoulder and the wrist stay lined up. And same with bottom shoulder and wrist. They stay lined up. It's a twist at your rib cage. Deep, full breath. Lower down and switch sides. And lower down. Heel toe or hop back underneath the hips and walk back out to downward facing dog. Pedal the feet and begin to walk toward the top of the mat. Pause, hanging in forward fold for a moment. As you practice this evening, make sure you're pressing into the big toes all the way across to the little toe pads. Press down into the balls of the feet and straight down through the heels. Bend the knees, roll up the spine. Tadasana at the top. Let your shoulder blades melt down the back. Lengthen through the crown of the head. As you inhale, arms float up. Palms turn forward, squeeze into the glutes, lift up and over a big beach ball. Be kind to your joints. Avoid locking out the knees. On an inhale, rise. As you exhale, dive down. Chair pose, lower the seat, lift the heart. If you have any shoulder compromises, maybe you want to come into goalpost arms or prayer pose arms, or just wider straight arms. Forward fold, lift the seat, lower the heart. Left leg steps back, stepping back at a 45-degree angle. Warrior one, root down and rise. Lengthen through the sides of the body. Keep the front of the ribs tucked in. Pivot, dive down. Float back to downward facing dog. Wave into plank. Zip up the core, lift the hips. Roll through the spine. Now if you'd like, you can pause here holding plank or find knees down, chest down, or chaturanga. We'll meet in downward facing dog. Left leg floats up, inhale. As you exhale, tuck, step through. Back foot, 45 degrees, warrior one, float up. Pivot, dive down, stepping to the top of the mat, forward fold. Flat back, inhale. Forward fold, exhale. Reverse swan dive, float up, inhale. Tadasana, exhale. Inhale, arms float up, palms face forward. Squeeze into the glutes, mini back bend. As you inhale, rise. Swan dive down, exhale. Chair pose on an inhale. As you exhale, fold forward. Right foot slides back or steps back 45 degrees. Root down and rise. Pivot, dive down. Downward facing dog. Wave into plank pose. down, chest down, or chaturanga, or hold plank. Downward facing dog. Right leg, three-legged dog. Step through, adjusting back foot 45 degrees, warrior one. Pivot, dive down, step to the top of the mat, forward fold. Flat back, inhale. Fold forward, exhale. Reverse swan dive, inhale. Clear the sky, Tadasana, exhale. Same flow, switching warrior one with warrior two. Take a moment, readjust, settle back in. As you inhale, arms rise. Mini back bend, exhale. Inhale, rise. Dive down, exhale. Chair pose, inhale. As you exhale, fold forward. Left foot steps back, 90 degrees. Cartwheel the arms up, ending up in warrior two. Make sure hands and arms are on the same plane. Cartwheel down. Float back, downward facing dog. Wave into plank. Flow or pause. Knees down, chest down, or chaturanga. Meeting in downward facing dog. Left leg, three-legged dog. Step through. Back foot, 90 degrees. Cartwheel up. Cartwheel down, step to the top of the mat, fold forward, flat back, fold forward, reverse swan dive, float up, clear the sky, Tadasana. As you inhale, arms rise, back bend, exhale, rise, inhale, dive down, exhale. Chair pose, inhale. Exhale, fold forward. Right foot steps back, warrior two, 90 degrees, cartwheel up. Cartwheel down, step back, downward facing dog. Wave into plank pose, moving through your flow or holding a strong plank. Can even be down in knee plank. Just zip up the core, lengthen through the spine, broaden through the collarbones. And we'll meet in downward facing dog. Right leg, three-legged dog. Step through, warrior two. Cartwheel, pivot and step to the top of the mat, fold forward. Flat back, inhale. Fold forward, exhale. Reverse swan dive, inhale. Clear the sky, Tadasana. Moving back into the warrior one version, adding on from there. Hands float up, inhale. Back bend, exhale. Rise, inhale. Dive down, exhale. Chair pose, inhale. On an exhale, fold forward. Left foot floats back, 45 degrees, warrior one, rise. Feel free to pause here and keep the flow just the same as before, or you can clear the sky, intertwine fingers, rotate, not rotate, lift through the heart, or come down into a humble warrior. Lift up through the knuckles, let the head hang, root down through the feet as you draw the core up. rise, coming back into warrior one, pivot, dive down, float back or step back, downward facing dog. Wave into plank, and if you're holding plank, continue to wave back and forth or move through your flow. And we'll meet in downward facing dog. Left leg floats up, inhale, step through, back foot, 45 degrees, float up. Warrior one. Heart opener or humble warrior. So you can pause right here, or you can lower left shoulder, pressing knuckles away from your body. As you inhale, rise, coming back into warrior one. Pivot, dive down, stepping to the top of the mat, forward fold. Flat back, inhale. Fold forward, exhale. Reverse swan dive, inhale. Tadasana, exhale. Inhale, arms rise. Mini back bend, exhale. Rise, inhale. Dive down, exhale. Chair pose, inhale. As you exhale, fold forward. Right foot steps back, 45 degrees. Root down and rise. Same idea here, either hold warrior one, hold heart opener, or humble warrior. I'm going to stay in heart opener this time. I begin to rise, meeting in warrior one. Pivot, dive down, float back, downward facing dog. Wave into plank to go through your flow, or continue waving back and forth. Trying to undulate the spine forward and back, if that makes sense. So start with the tailbone, and then here from plank, start with the crown of the head moving. Meeting in downward facing dog. Right leg floats up, inhale. Step through. Left foot, 45 degrees. Warrior one, float up. Either hold, move into heart opener, or humble warrior. Meeting in warrior one, slowly begin to rise. Pivot, dive down, stepping to the top of the mat, fold forward. Flat back, inhale. Forward fold, exhale. Reverse swan dive, inhale. Tadasana, exhale. Warrior two, arms float up. Back bend. Stack the spine. Dive down. Chair pose. Forward fold. Left foot, 90 degrees, step back. Cartwheel up, warrior two. Side angle. Warrior two. Cartwheel pivot. Down dog. Wave into plank. And either continue waving back and forth, or knees down, chest down, or chaturanga. Meeting in downward facing dog. Left leg floats up. Step through. Back foot 90 degrees. Cartwheel up. Warrior two. Side angle. Warrior two. Cartwheel pivot, step to the top of the mat, fold forward. Flat back, inhale. Fold forward, exhale. Reverse swan dive, inhale. Tadasana, exhale. Inhale, arms rise. Back bend. Inhale, rise. Dive down, exhale. Chair pose, inhale. Fold forward, exhale. Right foot steps back, warrior two. Cartwheel up. Side angle. Warrior two. Cartwheel pivot. Float back, down dog. Wave into plank for flow or continue the wave. Meeting in down dog. Right leg, three-legged dog. Step through. Warrior two. Side angle. Soften the jaw, soften the shoulders. Warrior two. Cartwheel pivot. Step to the top of the mat, fold forward. Flat back, inhale. Fold forward, exhale. Reverse swan dive, inhale. Tadasana, exhale. Root down, lengthen through the crown of the head and find stillness. Rooting down through the left foot, hands come to prayer pose. Right leg lifts to your version of tree. Is it low tree or is it high tree or somewhere in between? Maybe you'd like to grow branches. They can be moving branches. You can add a little stretch, pressing your right knee back. Can add a stretch to the shoulders. So you're going to cross the wrists, palms together, and then press into the palms. Or maybe you'd like to just hold in prayer. Lower down, Tadasana. Find length through the body. Prayer pose, rooting into the right foot, left foot lifts for tree. Low tree or high tree. Does not have to be the same as you did last time. Continue to find length through the body here. Find your drishti and grow branches if you'd like. Stepping down into Tadasana. Step the feet out just a bit wider. Palms turn up to the sides of the legs. Inhale, arms float up. Exhale, hands come down to the center of the body, palms down. Inhale. Exhale, bend the knees. Inhale, begin to straighten the legs. Bend the knees, exhale. Inhale. This time as you exhale, we'll pause. Unbend the knees just slightly and find stillness. hands to the hips, step out wide, the toes point straight ahead, hinge forward to flat back, arms extend down from the shoulders. Maybe you're on finger pads, maybe you're on blocks, maybe you are on palms, knuckles. I'm gonna bring a block or 2 blocks. Bend the elbows, fold forward, flat back, bend, flat back, bend, flat back. Bringing the left hand underneath chin chest area, right hand floats up. Stack wrist on top of shoulder, shoulder on top of shoulder, and shoulder on top of wrist. Switch. Press the bottom hand downward so you're pressing the side body away from the mat. And fold forward. Toe, heel, or hop back underneath your hips and make your way down on to your sit bones, however you'd like to do that. We'll meet in a wide leg forward fold. So finding your compassionate edge, arms float up as you're ready, root down through the heels, arch the back, keeping the back arch, begin to tilt the hips forward, hands and arms release when you need that support. Walk the hands in, inhale, rise. Left hand comes over to your right thigh. Right hand up and over, following the angle of your left leg. Maybe you can touch down to those toes, but you want to keep the shoulder open, so maybe that's not going to happen. Maybe you have some kind of shoulder impingement and it feels better to reach the hands straight up. Go for it. As you rise, bring the head up, lower the raised hand down, and switch sides. So right hand crosses to left thigh, and left hand over the top, reaching toward right toes. Full steady breath. Soften the jaw. And as you rise, raised hand lowers as the head floats up. Excellent. Bring the knees up, feet together, knees apart. Hold on to the ankles and guide the chin, the chest, the forehead forward. Maybe the arms root down into the thighs. Arch the back here. You want the tailbone to be lifted and not tucked under your body. As you inhale, rise. Bring the knees up with you and lower down on to your back. Hold the knees into the chest or happy baby, your choice, and rock from side to side. Reconnect with your breath. Allow the jaw to soften and shoulders to soften. Lower the feet down to the mat. Hips width apart. Arms into a low V to start. Lift your hips so that they swivel. You can move them around. And you'll twist at the rib cage, keeping your shoulders square. Twist until the left side of your hip finds the center of the mat, where your tailbone was. Tuck your knees into the chest so the feet lift, and then lower the thighs down to the ground. As you do that, If you notice your right shoulder blade lifting, see if you can adjust a little bit and get the shoulder down. So maybe you just need to scooch over a little bit with the left shoulder. Still not happening? Make sure then your right arm is close to your body. If your shoulder blade can stay glued to the mat, you can come out into goalpost arms or a T position. Or maybe you'd like to use your left hand to hold on to the top thigh. Find a steady, full breath. And begin to come out of the posture. Bring the feet around, lift the knees, and then lift the hips. And find neutral, that squared off position with your tailbone right in the center of the mat. Start out with the arms low, lift the hips, twist at the waist, rolling onto the right side of the hip, right there in the center of the mat. Tuck the knees in, the feet are lifted, and lower down. Notice, did that left shoulder blade lift? If so, maybe you can do a little shimmy with the shoulders, get the shoulder blade down. If not, just bring the hand and arm close to the body. If you can glue that shoulder blade down, goalpost arms or T, or perhaps the right hand holds on to the left thigh, the top thigh. Deepen your breath. Soften your jaw. Maybe the eyes begin to close. Now, as we move on, you can either close practice with me or move into Shavasana. You can still close practice, but you can stay in Shavasana as long as you'd like. We're going to come out of the twist, bringing the feet to the mat, the knees lift, then you lift the hips to find center. If there's any final pose you'd like to do before Shavasana, take a moment to do that. Maybe it's happy baby, knees tucked into the chest, rock and roll, they're on the spine. And take a few more breaths, whatever you're doing. And if you'd like to close practice with me, come to a seated position. If you're ready for Shavasana, just lengthen out into Shavasana and just listen. We'll unite our breath with an inhale, arms float up, bringing the palms to Anjali Mudra. And thank you so much for being here, for being patient with us, for supporting us. Have a beautiful week.